Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot and a PMDG 777 beta tester. Welcome to another full flight, this time featuring the United 777-300ER on a flight from Flightbeam's awesome new San Francisco scenery over to Beijing. This is going to be a quick 13-hour block time flight, so a routine mission for a Boeing 777. Now follow me inside as we are going to board our aircraft and take a seat in business class over here first, as we are going to do our flight preparation. Nothing nicer than a business class seat for that, by the way. So let's go ahead and have a look at our flight plan. So I'm taking it directly from SimBrief this time, so that we have the most accurate information available straight away. So let's go ahead and start by looking at the PDF version of our plan. And we are going to start, as always, with the general route overview. So you can see this is going to be ETOPS flight once again, as we are going to cross the Pacific. And we have 3 ETOPS airports this time. Vancouver is going to be our entry. Then we have a short segment where we are outside ETOPS over Anchorage. Technically speaking, there would be Cold Bay over here as well, but the weather isn't all that good today in Cold Bay. We're going to have a look at that later on. And then we fly all the way along the Russian airspace border to Japan, and from there via Korea over to China. So if we have a look at the significant weather chart, we can see basically good weather conditions all over on the first part of the flight. On the second part of the flight, there is a volcano eruption down here in Russia, or the Karimsky. I hope that that is more or less how you pronounce it. But it doesn't look like there is any ash cloud advisory, but we'll go over that carefully when we are going to analyze the significant weather and the SIGMATs. So, roundabout when we reach Japan, we are going to enter a little bit of turbulence here from the oncoming jet stream. You can see light turbulence is forecast, or actually light to moderate turbulence, between level 280 and level 440, so that's something we are likely to encounter over here. And finally, looking at the third chart, it looks like we are going to stay within that turbulence pretty much all the way for the last part of our flight. So basically from Nogal onwards, it could get and stay turbulent for our flight. This is something we are going to keep in mind, but looking at the significant weather chart over here, the turbulence starts all the way down in flight level 260, so I'm afraid there is not going to be all that much that we can actually do about this, so we'll probably just have to live with it. Well, apart from that, looking at the wind chart, tiny bit of winds from pretty much everywhere along the flight, and then of course we got the jet stream that's going to come right at us on the last part of the flight. Now, if we go ahead then and go one level down, now we have the overview of the flight. If you go one level down then, let's go ahead and have a look into our airport weather list and the SIGMATs. So, looking at our en route, we do not seem to have any forecast for that volcano eruption here. No SIGMAT issued. Well, that probably means that we are going to stay far enough away from it that we don't really have to worry about it. Now, if we, at this point, just have another look, we can open the Navigraph charts and have a look at our route of flight over there, just to give us a little bit of an idea. And, well, looking into this, you can see that while we're flying along Kamchatka, we are basically staying in the oceanic airspace all the time. So we are not going to enter the Magadan UIR. Well, at the moment, for political reasons, we couldn't enter it anyway, so we have to fly just over here, just to the south of the Magadan UIR, and that is what we are doing. So, I guess most likely that volcano eruption just is not relevant for us then. Okay, so going back into our flight plan, now we can have a look into the weather of all our airports themselves. So we've got San Francisco here reporting clear skies, and, well, a little bit of gusts at the end of the day, but right down the runway, so nothing to worry about. So San Francisco is always an option to come back to. Beijing's reporting cavalcade conditions, and going over then to our alternate airports. I do ask for forgiveness for not knowing how to pronounce those correctly. Looks like the weather conditions, well, at that one over here by Tar are not all that good. However, we should land long after this, so weather over here can be assumed good as well. And the same for our other alternates. So basically weather is good everywhere over here. Along the route we've got a fuel en route, which is New Chitose Airport, and they do seem to have a little bit of bad weather, but that's going to be long after our arrival, so that's nothing to worry about. And now we've got our ETOPS alternates. So they've chosen Vancouver here as a start, and you can see Vancouver has pretty much good weather forecast all day long. Then we've got Anchorage, again very good weather, and New Chitose. We talked about that one already. And that's unfortunately our airport list ended. So in the real world we would also take a look at all the other airports we have en route. So what we can do is we can go over here and then we can go for weather and NOTAMs right within SimReef. Can populate that from the last flight, but you can see that this only gives us the airport that we already had along our route anyway. So we might just as well go ahead and enter a couple extra ones. So going back to the Navigraph charts, we are basically covered all the way over here. Well, there's Cold Bay over here, PACD, which we can take. So let's go ahead, take that over here as well, and then we may continue along. Now, coming over Japan, we might surely want to know the weather of Tokyo, and we could get Nagoya maybe, or down here we could always go for Osaka. So let's go ahead and add those to the briefing as well. So RJTT, RJBB. And then finally we're going to set over to Korea. So we might as well request Seoul, Incheon. And then over China we will be happy with the alternate airports provided. So let's go ahead and request RKSI as well. Alright, hit the weather search and here we go. So we have looked at all of those already, but what we can look at next are the new ones we just requested. So starting at Cold Bay, you can see over here it's pretty gusty, even though it's down the runway. They have a runway 15 over there, but gusty, low-lying clouds, and according to the TAF, that is gonna get a little bit better over the night, but I can totally understand why dispatch went for Anchorage instead of Cold Bay, especially seeing that Anchorage has a lot better facilities to handle us. Okay, then going along, we've got Tokyo Haneda. And the forecast over here is until 2100 light thunderstorms, but thereafter the weather should become significantly better. So Tokyo should be available for us. And then we can go ahead and have a look at Osaka. And Osaka is good all day long, as far as we can see over here. A little bit low-lying clouds at the moment, but that few doesn't matter, so basically it's good weather conditions. And then finally we've got Incheon, and looking at the forecast for Incheon, might become a little bit gusty, but that's all, well, yeah, a little bit over here. We should just about have landed in Beijing by the time this sets on, so I do expect we should be good for a diversion to Incheon as well. So that's our weather conditions. Over in Asia, a little bit gusty perhaps, in Alaska as well. But apart from that, we are mostly facing favorable conditions for our flights. So that's the weather analysis. Now, quick look at our aircraft. Well, we don't have any briefing info over here, so our aircraft is going to be fine. And if you really want to take it out, then you could look at all the NOTAMs, but I have to admit that for flight simulation purposes, I'm a little bit lazy to do that. So now let's go ahead and have a look at our operational flight plan. So departing San Francisco at 17:35, landing in Beijing at 06:20 is what our plan looks like. Now we've got a lot of different flight levels over there once again. Not really surprised, is it? Okay, going on from there, if we have a look at our weights, we can see we're almost at the max takeoff weight here. So almost at the max zero fuel weight as well. A little bit of play of 20,000 pounds on the landing weight, so that should be good to go. Cost index 40, and we've got an average headwind of just about 13 knots. But have a look at the difference this component over here has. So if you look at the ground distance, we're filed for 5,800 miles roundabout, and the distance against the air is almost 6,000 miles. So that's like about 150 miles difference we have in there, 165 mile difference that we fly extra. Now, if we have a look at those significant weather charts, we can see that we're filed pretty far up to the north here, and if we went down here through the jet stream, the flight back is surely going to be several hours quicker than the flight that we have along our route. So just about something to keep in mind over here. Okay, apart from that, we generally seem to have good and favorable weather conditions and flight conditions all over. So we can go ahead and make a decision on our fuel now. So looking into this, we're planned with 20 minutes of contingency fuel for New Chitose Airport. And our alternate is like half an hour flight time away, so I don't really think we will need much extra here. Maybe a little bit, just to take care of the turbulence in case we have to fly at a lower altitude, or in case we just take a little rerouting to get rid of a bit of that turbulence. So, well, looking at the forecast over here, I don't want to take too much extra because generally you can see we're very close to the maximum takeoff weight. So what we'll do is this. We'll scroll down a little bit, have a look at the operational impact, and for 1,000 pounds of extra weight, we have to use almost 300 pounds of extra fuel already. So what we can say, flight level change, if we just go down by 1,000 feet, that's almost 1,000 pounds extra fuel already. So what we're going to do is this. This is for the entire flight. So if we fly 1,000 feet lower on like the entire flight, we're going to use 1,000 pounds more fuel. So we're going to take 2,000 pounds extra. Of those, we're going to burn 600 pounds just to carry them. So that leaves us with about 1,000 pounds extra. So that should very well make us capable of flying like 2,000 or 3,000 feet lower for 2 or 3 hours of the flight. So 2,000 pounds extra. That means we end up at 260,000. And I think that's going to be a good value for our flight. And now we're 12 minutes into the video, and you can see that I've just barely taken you along the flight planning for a flight like this. But that's exactly how it works in real life as well. You just got to arrive at your airport early, and you just got to start doing your preparations early, because, well, it's long haul. That's how it works if you're flying halfway around the world. Now we can be happy that actually we don't encounter too much of thunderstorms on today's flight, but that it's only a volcano along our route that we have to deal with. So that's pretty good already. That's pretty good already. Alright then, let's go ahead and take a seat, and we can start with our pre-flight procedures. So the oil quantity is good, they filled it up just before the flight. Looking at the status, the hydraulic is good, oxygen is checked and good. Then we can do a recoil and just go through all those messages we have over here, and that's looking good as well. Alright, excellent. So our aircraft is accepted for service. Then let's go ahead and start picking up our weather. So we'll go for KSFO. We'll do automatic updates here, because why not? Always gives us the latest weather information, and that request is now sent. Alright, that was quick. So, altimeter 2983, might as well go ahead and set that already. 2983, 2983. And I think I forgot to go over my options after the update became available, so let's just quickly go ahead and reset those to my standard settings. My apologies for that. I should definitely have done this before I started the video, but, well, here we go. It's a quick setup. By now I kinda know what I like and what I dislike. Well, and here we go. Definitely gonna turn that transponder off on the ramp. Alright, so can cancel that weather then. And that's looking good. So we have power, the lights are on. And all I'm gonna do now is start the aileron alignment, turn on the voice recorder, and then we can go into the FMC. So the IRAC is up to date now. We'll have to enter the position in a few moments, and then we can go ahead and import the flight into our universal flight tablet, of course. Here we go, and then we can do our route request for the SimBrief route, set payload, set fuel, select route, and here we go. Okay. So let's just wait until the route uplink arrives so that we can start inserting it now. And then I will go out for the walk around while our colleagues can start preparing their stuff in the flight deck. Okay then, walk around starts right over here, and all of our panels are looking good. The outflow valve is okay. We do have the green oxygen discharge disc. Tires are looking good. No kind of damages or anything the likes. That's good. I didn't mess up my landings. That basically means. Okay, and then let's go ahead to the front of the plane. All the probes and sensors are looking good, and it's looking good from the front as well. It's seen a couple of bees and insects at the front, but no birds. That's the important thing here. So, loading is in progress right now. We'll just quickly run underneath. Static ports are looking good. Man, it's loud down here. Okay, so nothing blocked. Leading edge is looking good. The beacon is looking good over there on the right side as well, which leads us up to the engine. And our fan blades are all in a good shape as far as I can see. Okay, engine is looking good, and there is no thrust reversal lockout pin installed either. From the bottom, everything is fine. No scratches. Nobody did a pot strike. Leading edge is looking okay. The overpressure vent over here is not blocked. And both bulbs of the green navigation light are working. Leads us to the trailing edge then. The fuel dump vent is okay. And the entire trailing edge of the wing is looking good as well. Alright then, onto the tires. And we can see with the update, they finally moved the brake wear indicator pins to the right side at the top of the assembly and moved them away from the bottom where they were previously. So the brake wear indicator pins are good. There is no visible damage anywhere here on the tires. Brake wear indicator pins are good, and that goes for the middle set of the wheels as well. Alright then, onto the aft part of the aircraft. And over here we have no sign of any visible damages. The leading edges are looking good, and there doesn't seem to be any oil dropping from the APU compartment. That is already very good as well. Nav lights in the back over here are working. APU outlets looking good. No sign of any smoke or anything that might previously have indicated damage to the APU. That's excellent. You might have noticed that we don't have a tail skid over here. Now, United seems to trust their pilots, but don't worry, there's still that little sensor located right in here. If this one gets damaged, that is, first of all, where the airplane would first make contact with the ground, and that's also what's going to trigger the ICAS alert. So, the outflow valve is open, and then we can move on to the front again. Now, same check that we already did on the other side. No hydraulic leakages, no nothing the likes. Brake wear indicator pins are looking good. There is no damage to the wheels. And the same goes for here, and the same goes for here. Brake wear indicator pins on the front wheels and also on the middle wheel are checked. No sign of a bird strike, then we can move along the wing. Check the trailing edge. Again, the fuel dump valve over here. The tank ventilation valve in the middle over there. The white lights are working. Static wick dischargers all in place. We've got two working red lights, and the leading edge is looking good over here as well. Alright then, leads us back to the engine. Quick look into the back of it. No sign of any damages. Thrust reversal lockout pins not installed. No scratches on the bottom. And the inlet is looking good, and all of our fan blades are looking good as well. No damages to the landing lights, no birds nesting in the air intakes, and that's basically our walk around completed. So join me on the way back in, and we can start preparing our flight deck. So here we are again. Let's go ahead and get our aircraft ready for service. Already started the FMC pre-flight procedure. Let's go ahead and bring up our flight plan and the Navigraph charts. So we'll start with our general chart setup over here. Having a look into the plan, we're going to depart San Francisco off 28 left via the Gunner 3 departure. So we've got the parking charts down here. I do hope that that's the right one. Yes, it is. And then we can also take the airport chart over here. Might as well turn that to daylight right now. And then our SID chart, Gunner 3 RNAV departure. Here we go. So, top altitude 3000, that's pretty low. But then again, we are pretty heavy, so I'm not all too worried about that. Okay then. So, departing San Francisco, 28 left, Gunner 3, and we'll take the transition towards a marker. Okay, over in Beijing, we're probably expecting runway 19, so let's just insert the ILS Zulu runway 19. We've got the DUMAP 8 Zulu Alpha arrival. So, DUM 8 Zulu Alpha, that's probably going to be it. And do we need that transition down here? Let's have a look into our flight plan. It ends at 521. Yes, then we need the transition. Excellent. So, route. Let's have a look at this now. So, Amaker, direct Linus, direct Fasel, direct 52 north, 140 west, direct 55 north, 150 west, direct 56 north, 160 west, Bilby, 56 north, 180 west, direct Nickel, direct Romeo 220 towards Noden. Well, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, then we've got Romeo 217 Aster, Yankee 514 Sierra Delta Echo, Yankee 512 Golf Tango Charlie, Yankee 142 Salmon, Yankee 14 Sagno, Yankee 16 Saprai, Yankee 685 Sierra Echo Lima, Yankee 697 towards Agavo, Alpha 591 Ikeka, Whiskey 4 Hotel Charlie Hotel, Whiskey 200 Doviv, Whiskey 55 Dumap. So that is looking good. Okay, gonna activate that route and execute it. Then, on the legs page, what do we have here? Straight ahead via Gunner above 2500. Now that might be a little bit of a bottleneck, that restriction there. We might have to fly noise abatement procedure number 1 in order to be able to make that. And thereafter, Stins and Amaker, and that's what we have in here. Okay. So, departure 135.1. Here we go. Okay, so that's looking good. Then we can import our wind data. Very important to do this on a long haul, as it can have a huge outcome on your estimated arrival fuel and time. So 5,786 miles, and if you look at the flight plan, 5,791. Yep, that's about close enough. Excellent. So KSFO into the fix page, and we'll put a 25-mile ring around that for the MSA. Don't need anything on the RATNAV page. Transition altitude 18,000, we're in the US. That is definitely going to be right. Okay, so accept our uplink. Flight level 280 is correct. Cost index 40 is correct. Reserves 15.2 versus 15.2. Excellent. So we're in the US, that means we've got Jet A fuel, so minus 37 is the correct temperature. Cruise CG will put 30 in here, and that's good. Okay, takeoff page 2. So, acceleration 800, thrust reduction flaps 1. Nah, probably not. Not today. So, acceleration, we'll put that onto 3000, and engine out acceleration, we'll use 1000. That should be good to get us, above that 2,500 feet restriction. Okay. So with that, pretty much done over here. Excellent. Then we can stow away that EFB and start working on the rest of our flight deck setup. So is refueling complete? Nah, not really. We wanted to take 260,000 like this. Okay, now refueling is complete. Okay, nothing over here, nothing over here. So reset all. Thank you. Come on. And here we go. Okay, the side is looking good. This is looking good. Auto brake comes on. And then we can do 1 to 1.5. TCAS into above, squawk to something, 2000 by default, and that's it. Okay, excellent. So we're pretty much done with all of this. Might as well go ahead and set the park and brake already. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, our brake sources, our brake accumulator is almost empty. On that case, ground from flight deck. Go ahead. Can we pressurize hydraulics? Yes, sir, you can pressurize hydraulics. Thank you. Can charge that up by turning on the right hydraulic system. So look at this. Pressure applies to the system. And then hopefully the brake accumulator should start charging any moment. Here it goes. So that's a pretty quick charge, but that's exactly what I would expect. If we're on it already, here we go. Park and brake is now set. Excellent. Then we can turn the right hydraulics back off again. And here we go. So, that's what you gotta do. Well, and in that case, I think we can go ahead with our departure briefing. So, threats for the departure, we're pretty heavy, very close to the max takeoff weight. Got the 2,500 feet restriction that we'll have to meet in order to get over the hills and the mountains. If we look at it from the outside, that's the extended center line about right over there. So there's definitely a couple hills that we want to ensure that we are going to climb over. For that, we'll do noise abatement procedure number 1, and we'll carefully monitor for any scratch pad messages that are going to tell us that we're unable to meet the restriction. Apart from that, I don't really have any threats. Do you? No? Excellent. So, route check is looking good. It's going to be a left seat takeoff on runway 28 left. Flaps, we'll have to see. Probably 15, I suppose. Rather high takeoff speeds, so that's also something to keep in mind there, especially for the reject decision, but we'll talk about that in a few moments. For emergencies, we climb straight out, make sure that we get through that little gap in the hills and then out to the open ocean. Climbing 3000 should keep us safe. Now, for the emergencies, above 80 knots, I will only board for fire warning, engine failure, predictive wind shear warning, or any ICAS alert that still comes through. Now, if I abort, I will simultaneously close the thrust levers and disengage the auto throttle, apply maximum manual braking, and verify operation of the RTO auto brakes. Manually raise the speed brake lever, apply maximum reverse thrust, and when the aircraft comes to stop, I will set the park and brake. Alright, if you call stop, I will note the brake sound speed, call speed brakes up or speed brakes not up, and thrust to as normal indications. Call 100 knots, 80 knots, 60 knots, and the runway distance remaining. I verify your actions and call your emissions. I will call auto brake disarm, and select flap 30 when the park and brake has been set and advise ATC of the reject. Excellent. We then identify the failure and carry out any drills as appropriate. If we decide to evacuate, we read and do the evacuation checklist. Time permitting, we'll pull the CBR circuit breaker, you grab the load sheet, then we get out. If the call before V1 is keep going, there will be no actions below 400 feet except to cancel any warnings and raise the landing gear with a positive rate. At 400 feet, verify heading select and carry out the memory items. At the MFRA, we're going to buck up and retract the flaps on schedule. Flaps up, no light, select level change, max continued thrust, engage the automatic, non-normal checklist, normal checklists, Piosi NITS PA, and then we make up a plan. We are overweight, but if we really need to re-land immediately, San Francisco is the best option in the area, so we do the overweight landing checklist. We'll consider if we have time for a fuel dumping or not. We might just have to go straight in, and then we can in any case return with an overweight landing. Now, for the taxi, let's have a look at the charts. Well, we might just use this one as well. Okay, so we're parking down here. Pushback is going to be into the apron, and then taxi out down here, and then via Alpha, crossing runways 1 left and right, which are in use for departures. That's another threat over here. And then we taxi to the full length 28 left. Our departure, we talked about it briefly, is the Gunner 3 departure. So we are going to climb on the runway track towards Gunner above 2,500 and then via stints along the shoreline, climbing initially altitude 3,000 feet. So that's a rather low level off. For our noise abatement departure, if we level off in 3,000, then we can start accelerating straight away. We don't need to wait until we're in 3,000 plus whatever that field elevation is, 3,013. So once we're level in 3,000, we just go ahead and do our acceleration. MSA wise, 5,100 in the north, 3,500 towards the seaside. And once we're over the water, obviously 3,000 is going to keep us safe as well. But to come back, we basically need to climb above 3,000, so might as well go to 4,000 straight away. You have any questions about that? No? Excellent. Right, then let's do the pre-flight checklist. Oxygen, tested 100%. Flight instruments, heading 195, altimeter 2983, reading 20. Set left, set right. Pre-flight checklist complete. Okay then, starting APU. Boarding should be finished by now. Might as well shut that door. Get rid of all these. So, ground operations, and we'll go to the service vehicles, release them all please. Door management, close all. And then we just gotta wait for the APU before we can pull off our ground power. Okay, they're ready to arm the slides. Cabin crew, arm slides. So, arm all. And this one is a nice example of an aircraft that does not have the door arming indicators fitted to the synoptic page. So over here, you don't get any feedback on the status if the doors are armed or not. So now we got to count on the cabin crew to do the check properly. But as you can see, if we look at the Universal Flight Tablet over here, we still get the arming indication, so we know in what kind of state the doors really are. Okay, awaiting the APU, which is almost up. Yeah, APU running, here we go. Ground flight, go ahead. So, you can remove all the ground equipment now and can start preparing the aircraft for pushback. Roger, stand by. So, handling by United. Alright. So, that good stuff is done. So, release the jetway. Oh, it looks like GSX did that already. Well, release it again. So, ground power release, chocks remove, the parking brakes are in place. That's excellent. So, doors are closed. Ladies and gentlemen, from Flight Deck, this is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of United, welcome aboard our flight 888 to Beijing. Flight time today, 12 hours 40 minutes. We expect a smooth flight at approximately 30,000 feet. Thank you very much for being our guests today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the trip with us. If there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please do not hesitate to ask any of our charming flight attendants who might just let you out without a beating. Thank you for being our guests. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. Alright, the passengers are dealt with, then let's go for the performance. So, review, uplink, here we go. So, 510.8 gives us 770.8. So, San Francisco, runway. 28 left. Let's make sure that this is really the full length that we have in here. I think we can only get that from the airport chart, can we? I don't think it's on the moving map. So, we've got 3,469. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have. It's a dry runway. Well, and that stuff is in kilos. In that case, I'm just going to import it. And the weather as well, then. Right, calculate. So, full blow at flaps 15. So, flaps 15, CG will just take from here 6 units of trim, and that matches. So, takeoff speed 168, 176, 183. All within 1 knot, we can take those speeds. Excellent. So, here we go. Ground flight. Go. So, please confirm all door hatches are closed, ground equipment removed, and bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed, Captain. Roger. Are we clear to pressurize hydraulics? Yes, clear pressurize. Roger. 183, LNAV, VNAV. Runway track 284, altitude is going to be 3,000 only. So, pressurize the right system first, fault light is out, then we can go ahead and pressurize the rest. Fuel in center shows, so center pumps come on as well. Okay, 6 units of trim. That is going to take a little while, and in the meantime, transponder goes all the way on. Welcome to the US, my friends. Here we go. And the armrests can come down as well. Before start checklist. Flight deck door. Closed and locked. MCP V2 183 heading 284 altitude 3000. Takeoff speeds V1 168 VR 176 V2 183. CDU pre-flight completed, trim 6 units, 0 and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed, holding at beacon. Ground flight. Go ahead. So, push approved, tail to the east, park and brake set. Release brakes, please. Before start checklist complete. Brakes released, ready to push. Roger, start on the push and stand by for the engines. Roger. And here we go. So just while we have the time, let's just appreciate how marvelous Flightbeam's new San Francisco really looks. You look at the detail over here, not just the detail in the terminal, but especially the detail below it. That's where Flightbeam just really shines. That's what I really appreciate, like razor sharp aircraft markings. Very good construction site down here. So that's really why I love Flightbeam so much. They don't just do the passenger part of the airport, but they do all the airport, and it all just looks amazing. Look at the detail of the ground vehicles here and stuff like that. Okay, flight, you're clear, start your engines. Roger, starting left and right. Left engine start. So, looking at the clock, we were supposed to go at 35, so yeah, that's round about on time, isn't it? Slightly overshot on the pushback, it seems. Okay, I've got a good start in 1, starting 2. Clear 2, and the pushback's complete, set brakes. Brake set. Roger, stand by. And here's the latest weather for us. I'll just cancel that for now, though. Okay, ground flight. Go. So we've got 2 good starts. Clear disconnect. Show me the sign on the left side with a pin. Have a wonderful day. Bye now. Okay, there comes the ramp agent, and that's our clear sign, definitely received over there. Alright, flight controls. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. And the rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Before taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Auto. Recall. Checked. Flight controls. Checked. Ground equipment. Clear. Before taxi checklist complete. So just a quick look at that weather we just got. (040) at 4, 18 degrees, 2982. Okay. So for the taxi, it's gonna be straight out via down here onto Alpha and then Alpha all the way around. Brakes released. And off we go. So, since there is a couple of gates right behind us, I'm going to use just minimal thrust here to get the aircraft out of the bay we are currently parking in, and then we can still accelerate. So, we'll just go up to 10 knots, and when we have that, idle thrust, and that's it. And even right now, you can see I'm just about using 25% N1 over here. That's because the GE90 engines on idle thrust produce so incredibly much power. I read some people who said that a GE90 on idle would produce as much as CFM56 on takeoff thrust. I'm not quite sure that is right, but in any case they do produce a lot of power. And they absolutely need to. We weighed almost 800,000 pounds over here. Should never forget that. It's a little bit of a pity that we don't have any AI traffic here at the moment, but I removed FS traffic for testing purposes here, since I wanted to see if that had any influence on the stability of my simulator. I have a feeling I found the reason elsewhere, but nonetheless, just to be on the safe side here, I removed FS traffic as well. Going to conduct a couple flights without it, and if my system holds stable, then I'll just insert it again to see what's going to happen. But I definitely want to avoid something like the 3 crashes to desktop we had on that live stream I attempted. So for now, I think it's probably rather my motherboard that was to blame. So I've been using an Asus motherboard, and they have actually been known to cause some instabilities with Intel CPUs. So, well, ever since I did a BIOS update and then changed a couple of settings to reflect the Intel factory settings for my i9 14900K, those things seem to have stabilized. So I'm a little bit hopeful that it was indeed just my motherboard that caused the instability with my CPU. That doesn't explain why it happened with exactly at an exactly certain point in time where others also got flight simulator instabilities. But since there has never been an FS update in the meantime, and since I could do 4 full flights ever since that live stream attempt, I kind of hope that this fixed it. But we'll have to see. If this video goes online, then it means it did not crash to desktop on me on that one, so that's probably a good sign already. Okay, the cabin was ready. Before takeoff checklist, please. Before takeoff checklist complete. I just didn't want to interrupt my little story here in the meantime. So we're approaching the hotspot on the taxi here. We're going to continue straight on Alpha, and then we'll have to cross the runways. Runways are active for takeoff and landing, so a good look outside, especially since the view on the holding point is blocked by the terminal over here. A good view is definitely going to be important here. Also a slight turn coming up ahead, but for that little turn, yeah, that's less than 30 degrees, so we can keep our taxi speed. Okay, no traffic over there, and we're clear to cross. Strobe light coming on. So, clear left side, and clear right side. And one right is clear as well. Okay, let's review the takeoff briefing. It's going to be a left seat takeoff, runway 28 left, flaps 15, noise abatement procedure 2. Takeoff speeds on a dry runway, 168, 176, 183. The sit is basically straight ahead. We have that 2,500 feet restriction there. And we might actually just check where the airplane would actually be at that point. Let it calculate. 4,100, okay, not a problem at all. So we are good to go in terms of our altitude restriction. Okay, then In case of any abnormals, we'll do a slight left turn to get in between all those mountains out to the open ocean. And then we are going to climb 4,000 feet. That's going to keep us safe coming back to SFO, especially with those hills over here, which are definitely in the clouds. So that's a little bit of a threat in case we have to return. Now, weather is a little bit of a point here. We've got a lot of low-lying clouds in the area. So if we have to make an immediate return, we got to ensure that we stay in VMC while we fly the traffic pattern. But generally, we are far over the max landing weight. We can return if we need to, but I would prefer to go out over the ocean somewhere, climb to at least 6,000 feet, and then we can start fuel dumping and return at the maximum landing weight. That's probably going to be the easier option for us. Okay, any questions, comments or concerns? Nothing. Excellent. Well then, seeing that the terrain is probably the greatest threat for our departure, I'm going to go onto the terrain display, since we know that there is no weather in the departure area. We can't see that. Our eyes are going to be the weather radar here. So, the approach area is clear, there's no traffic. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Just look at that oversteering technique here. A little bit left of the center line, but overall not all that far off. So, approach area is clear, TCAS is on. Then I think we're good to go. So wind is coming directly from the right, neither a head nor a tailwind. Okay, ready? Take off. Thrust set.
80 knots.
Checked.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. $400. Okay, departure low United, 888 Heavy out of 1.7 climbing 3. At 888, departure low, climb, maintain 10,000, 10,000. Climb, maintain 10,000, United 888. Right, that's 10,000 set. That avoids that we have to level off over here. Okay, we already comply with the 2,500 restriction. Then we can start to accelerate. Flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Gonna make sure not to overspeed the flaps right now. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. And the same again, make sure not to overspeed the flaps. Here we go. Flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up. Right, the flaps are up. Any ice auto. After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete. Checklist complete. Autopilot. Wonderful, isn't it? So, made it all the way up. Now it's going to be a beautiful flight along the US West Coast, up northbound. And then, in about 12.5 hours, we're going to be in Beijing. So, climb intermediate level 200. Let's go ahead and get above 10,000 so that we can run all our procedures without being distracted too much. Gonna leave the lights on till 18,000 today, since there is a possibility for VFR traffic there. Look at that. Almost no wind. We know that there is a little bit because of the difference between the ground speed and the TAS, but I believe the 777 only shows you the wind from 10 knots onwards. Might be mistaken on the exact number though. Well, and with that, we're on the way. Again, heavy aircraft, so it doesn't really climb all that fast. 2,000 feet a minute and 2,000 and a bit. So, passing 10,000, let's get the pitch coming down. And with the pitch below 7, seatbelts auto. Don't need that clock anymore, that's just to time the takeoff thrust, and the elapsed timer is running down here. If you're wondering why there is a difference between the elapsed timer and what we time manually with a clock, that's because the elapsed timer starts as soon as the weight on wheel system senses that you're in the air. So the plane has sensors in its main landing gear that tell the aircraft if you're on the ground or in the air. So with the automatic timer, it simply starts when the aircraft is in the air. Man, this is a beautiful view along the coast, isn't it? Excellent weather conditions this morning. Well, and we're going to be flying along here for quite a while now, so that's actually going to be some excellent views. It almost feels bad to start looking down in order to start working on the flight plan now, but I have a feeling we need to do something, so at least we can go into here. VNAV, cruise, yeah, recommended 280. 280 is also planned, so 280 it is. But it wants to step up in 150 miles already. Let's just see what the flight plan says. So flight plan is 280 initially and then 300 at Faisal. Let's see, Faisal, here it is. 300S. So that would be in 700 miles. Yeah, we can definitely start in 280 then. If that is recommended anyway. Off we go, level 280. Here we go. That's better. Beautiful terrain down here. Really beautiful. Well, okay. So, even though the views are that beautiful outside, here's what pilots would typically do. Something like that. And on the other side we don't see that much anyway, so might as well just get the sunshade in place over here as well. Okay then, let's go ahead and start working on the FMS. Look at that, now the recommended is even flight level 260. Let's just be completely sure we got the up-to-date winds in here, but I'm pretty sure we do. So, wind update request is out. Then let's see, alternate airports. So, SFO is definitely an option. Then going northbound, Seattle is certainly one as well. And then we have Vancouver that we can insert for now. Okay, here comes the wind. Load that up. Probably a descent forecast as well. It's pretty important that you always insert the descent forecast, because that one really has the ability to screw you over. So if you're in a condition where the descent forecast is available but not loaded in, so basically like this, then the airplane will not let you request your cruise wind anymore. So you always gotta load that in as well. On the FMC comp page you can normally see that nicely. If it says uplink here above the descent forecast, that is what you should really pay attention to. Okay then, so, we got that stuff. Then let's just verify our recommended. Yeah, it's 280 again. Then we are definitely gonna go to level 280 at first. Then we'll just enter the step climbs as per our flight plan. So Faisal 300 we have. Then at 160 west, flight level 320. That's gotta be up here. Then flight level 330 at Nickel. Then level 340 at Nurkay. What else? 360 at Charlie Uniform November. And, well, then 11,000 meters when we enter Chinese airspace at Agavo. So where is that? Agavo, here it is. That's 361. Alright. So with that, our forecast is 0617, 16.9. Should be there at 0625, so we're arriving on time. Excellent. Well, set standard. And since we're through 18, lights can go off as well. And that's standard cross-check, passing flight level 204 now. Checked. Okay, so back to working on the FMS. So we're arriving exactly on time. Perfect. We don't need to change our cost index then. Well, apart from that, what else is there to do? Can go ahead with the fixed pages. So 410 miles around San Francisco. Then I'll just insert Vancouver over here, since that is going to be for our ETOP sector anyway. Slash 410. Let's just have a look at that. Yeah. This little part over here is covered from Portland over there, so we don't need to worry about that. We are covered here. That's not ETOPS yet. Okay, and after that already comes Anchorage. PANC. Slash 410. So, quick look down into the ETOP section of our flight plan. Here we go. So, starting out of Vancouver, that's 632 miles. And over in Anchorage, 673. Alright, so that's our first... That is our first equal time point entered. And then we might as well find our first FIR boundary. So, Seattle, Oakland, Oceanic is pretty much straight away. Okay. Well, where's that? At, somewhere behind our marker. See, 93 plus 122. So, well, somewhere over here. Basically, we'll be in touch with Oakland Oceanic pretty soon. And then probably remain there until a very long time. Well, Anchorage FIR, here we go. 158 miles prior to 150 west. What's that? Slash minus 158. Might insert that over here and erase. So, that's all we can do for now. So from here on, it's going to be sit back, relax. Almost at cruise flight already, so we'll just leave it there. Top of climb, 19 minutes, 242.5, 15.5 used. Well, we almost have that, so might as well just keep it here until we are up in cruise, so that we can at least do a little fuel check there. Well, at least we can, now that everything is done, start to sit back a little bit and relax. Quick check over the systems. Yeah, that's everything done. Okay, perfect. Let's turn on a little bit of time acceleration over here, so that we can get up to our cruising level a little bit quicker. Really amazing how the rate of climb is dropping, isn't it? Like, if you take a 777 on a not so long flight under these weather conditions, then the thing is going to climb at 2,000 feet a minute all the way to cruising level. But at the max takeoff weight where we are right now, that's really where the rate of climb drops. So, 1,000 to go. So, passing our marker. So that's supposed to be 19 minutes. We have 17 and 424.5. Sorry, 242.5. So we saved a bit of fuel. That makes sense. Top of climb. Similar story. So we saved about the amount of fuel we wanted to save. 16.8 on the arrival. So we have, well, some 10-15 minutes extra. And that's really all we need. Okay then, from here on we can go ahead and relax a little bit. And then all I can say is, almost welcome to China. 11 hours 30 into the air, and we are slowly but steadily approaching our destination. By now we're flying in the Chinese metric RVSM airspace. That's why we're flying at flight level 341 at the moment, which is 10,400 meters. So let's go ahead and take a normal seating again over here as we start our approach preparation. You can see we got about 120 miles till our top of descent, and it's round about time to start to prepare for our arrival. So we're going to start requesting the latest weather information over here, and I have a feeling I previously forgot to terminate the contract for San Francisco, so I might as well just terminate that right now and then request the latest, which is going to be our destination Beijing. So I'm going to make that an automatic request, please. I want updates whenever they become available. Go ahead and send that out. In the meantime, the recall shows that there is nothing in there. Here comes our weather. So Beijing has variable winds, Cabo OK, 24 degrees, QNH 1000. So 1000 is in. And here we go, 1000 is set on both sides. And the TAF is, well, nothing special really. Okay. At least not for our arrival time. Okay then, on the ECL we don't have anything abnormal either. Well, then we can go ahead and have a look at our arrival charts. So, search, arrival, Beijing. So let's see what's currently planned here. So we come in via DoMap, and we've got the DoMap 8 Zulu Alpha arrival. So that's DoMap 9 Zulu Alpha, DoMap 8 Zulu Alpha. Here we go. Arriving from down here, DoMap. Now, all those altitudes here, given in feet, are looking rather strange, but they basically are metric altitudes converted into feet. So if you look at it, you've got a flight level conversion chart up here, and that is exactly what we will be using on our arrival into Beijing. So we'll have to focus quite a bit on the arrival charts here. Now, from here on, we've got that chart. Then let's go ahead and have a look at the airport itself. It is definitely one of the larger airports. So I've got runway 19 on the side over here, 18 left in the middle, and then we have 18 right on the top. And as you can see, they're all long runways, so that's nothing for us to worry about. We will be landing runway 19 down towards the south. At least that is what I do believe at the moment. We might as well just go ahead and have a look at Flight Radar 24, which will show us what they're using at the moment. And well, what can I see on Flight Radar here? If you go ahead and have a look, they seem to have changed the runway and are using runway 01 at the moment. Departures coming out towards the north and arrivals coming from the south, so that's going to be runway 01. Well, that is a positive change for us, as it is definitely going to shorten our arrival time. On the other side, it also means we got a replan, so let's see, DoMap 9 Zulu Alpha then, I guess. Certainly that does seem to look like it. So 9 Zulu Alpha, let's see the approach chart. Runway 19 is no longer our runway, now it's runway 01. So most likely going to be the ANAF approach over here. Or rather the ANAF ILS approach. So via ANAF we fly onto the ILS. That's what this one is about. Okay. In that case we'll have to reprogram. So ILS Zulu 01, DoMap 9 Zulu Alpha with the Alpha Alpha 421 transition. Execute that. Let's see what our top of descent is going to do. Stays where it was. That is excellent, and that's most likely because of the altitude restrictions that we've had earlier on the flight. Well, that is very good though. So let's see, taxi routes, is there anything on here? Oh, not really, we simply vacate the runway. somewhere over here, Kilo 6, southbound, then enter the aprons over here. Okay, so nothing to worry about in terms of taxi routes. Then, let's see, parking stands, and this is probably going to be the east chart, I guess. Yes, it is. Excellent, so now let's see what we've got. We can dispose of the San Francisco charts. So, Dubab 9 Zulu Alpha, Arnav ILS DME Zulu runway 01. No reference charts published, that's fine. We can definitely live with that. Okay then. So, let's see. On the VNAV page, we've got 240 below 10,000. The econ speed is fine. Forecast, let's see if there is any transition level published on the chart. Yeah, 118, and that's what we have in here. Excellent. Okay then, let's go ahead and have a look at our arrival waypoints now. So, starting at Dubab between level 167 and level 177. Then we continue towards Alpha Alpha 429er. Alpha Alpha 428 between 167 and 177. Then on towards 427, Alpha Alpha 426. And I'll change that from level 138 above to level 138 exactly, so that we can fly straight in approach if needed. Okay then, so from here we proceed towards 425, 422 above 6890, and then we've got 421 below 4930, maximum 210 knots, and that's in here. Okay then, arrival, ILS runway 01, let's go ahead and have a close look. From 421 towards 420, this one is above 3940. And then we descend towards 1970, which we have on the next point. And that's the center fix. That's got to be the 18-mile point, I guess. Yeah, 18.6 miles. And then we proceed towards our final fix, which is the Fox India at 1970. Speed limit 170 is maybe a little bit fast, but hey, we have 13 miles over here, so we can easily control that ourselves. Alright, so 3-degree glide slope, which matches with the chart, down to a minimum of 284 feet. Might as well just quickly put that in. So 284, here we go. Okay, and in case of a missed approach, climb straight out to 760, that's what we have. And then turn right to VOR at 1970 or above, join holding or as directed. Okay, so that's Guangzhou VOR over here, Papa Echo Kilo. I do hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, feel free to advise me in the comments below. Okay, well, I am going to tune that radio, or that beacon once over here. Here we go, Papa Echo Kilo is in. So, Zulu, Bravo, Alpha, Alpha goes into the fix page. 25-mile ring here for MSA awareness. Even though the Chinese often do publish more than just that single VOR, as we could clearly see on the approach chart, but it's fine for me. So 6,300 in the missed approach area there. Well, I'll tell you what, in that case, might just as well switch that around to the VOR since it's rather offset from the field. So I've got, we'll mark that area over here on the chart so that we don't accidentally fly into that area. I believe that's over Beijing City. So 030, we'll draw the 25-mile ring nonetheless, and then gonna mark that one here, 300. Opposite course of that is 120, and finally 110. The opposite of that is 290. So here we go, something like that. So that marks our minimum safe altitudes. Okay, looking good to me. In that case, let's go ahead and update our descent winds. So, performance, landing en route, Beijing Capital Airport, runway 1. We'll just import the weights here since we've got kilos currently set in our universal flight tablet. Import the weather, calculate 2,191. That should be just about fine, I believe. Let's just see how long that runway really is. And especially where we want to vacate it. Yeah, I think if we vacate here on Quebec 6, that should be rather good. Then we end up straight at the terminal, which is where we want to go. Okay. I think that should cover us. So we can load this in. Now 16.5 on arrival versus 26.5 right now, so we burn 10,000 pounds, which is a landing weight of 527.3. Let's calculate a bit more. Let's take 530 over here. Flaps 30, auto brake 3, should be good to go. And that's it. Okay, you're ATC for the moment. I'm off for the passenger announcement. Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We will start our descent towards Beijing in the next 10 minutes. Weather over there currently 24 degrees with a clear sky. We'd like to thank you very much for being our guests today. Hope that you've enjoyed your flight, and we look forward to welcoming you again on board of a future punctual United Airlines flight, hoping that you'll not get dragged out of the aircraft. Thank you very much for your attention. Now, we can assure you that the Chinese are not going to offload you, so we wish you a nice and safe continuous journey and hope to see you again on board of a future scheduled United Airlines flight. Okay, so that's our passengers dealt with. Then let's go ahead and do the briefing. So, threats for the arrival, to be honest, metric airspace is the only one I see there, but we have the conversion chart available on our en route chart over here. And that is really everything we need. So maximum speed 280 knots within Beijing TMA. We have 278 over here, so that's just about perfect. Okay, then the VNAV page is filled in. Fixed rings around Beijing VOR, 25 miles. No nav aids needed. We looked at the arrival. The below constraints at DUMAP basically make a straight-in approach possible without having to worry about anything else. Apart from that, don't really have anything, do you? No. Excellent. Well then, so, we're rather happy today. 146 knots, plus 5 knots correction, so we're looking at 151. The wind is variable, so there might be a little bit of a tailwind component in there as well, which I sure hope is not going to be the case, but nonetheless, we've got 3,800 meters runway available, and we need about 2,200. We vacate the runway to the left, and then more or less directly to the apron. Any questions? Nope. Excellent. Then let's do the descent checklist, please. Recall, checked. Notes, checked. Auto brake, 3. Landing data, 030-146, Minsk Bar Road 284. Approach briefing completed, descent checklist complete. Alright then. With that, we're basically good to go. So I'd say we'll dial down the altitude. So, 167, 5,100 meters. And that's gotta be it. Right then, I see you all again as we are descending a little bit lower and starting our approach into Beijing. Well, we're getting closer, so we can just about start our continued descent. Next down is going to be 138. But this one we'll do a level change over here, because we really do want to get down a little bit earlier, because I have a feeling we are going to get that shortcut. And more or less fly straight in approach there, at least I sure hope so. Okay. Well, we already turned our fasten belt signs on, and we are now on the descent. Can start to get rid of those sunshades everywhere here. Look at that. Just beautiful, isn't it? Especially how all those houses more or less look the same from up here. But what I really gotta say is that I'm impressed at the level of detail that you even have available in parts of the world where, at least back in P3D, the scenery used to be, well, not all that good, if I can call it like that. So, back in P3D, China was more or less a desert, and now in MSFS, all of a sudden it looks pretty much right. That's really cool. It really makes those long hauls a lot more fascinating than they used to be in the old simulators. Well, I'm saying old simulator, and by now Microsoft Flight Simulator is almost the old one, so we'll just take it from there. Okay then, direct Alpha Alpha 420, as if I saw it possibly coming. And here we go. So let's see how high that actually puts us. Oh, not at all. Excellent. Well then. Down to that 4,000 restriction over here. Our speed is looking good at 280 knots. Well, so a couple of words about flying in metric airspace. So basically China in all of its airspace and Russia in the lower airspace is using metric levels. And you've got a conversion table over here, and you normally should refer to that table because sometimes the direct conversion that you have in your aircraft can be a little bit off compared to what is officially being used. So VNAV. So sometimes the numbers in the aircraft can be a little bit off due to rounding errors. So you should always refer to the official conversion table that you've got available on your charts. Now, charts is a very good point here, because the charts are really what matter when you're flying in these levels. You've got a flight level conversion chart up here, and then you've got a metric conversion chart down here. And you should always pay close attention as to what is written on here, whether this is based on QNH or based on QFE. Especially in Russia, you will find a lot of meters to flight level or meters to feet conversion charts that are actually based on QFE. You've got to be very careful with those. Remember, QFE is the altimeter setting that you need so that your altimeter reads 0 at the airfield. So, especially flying in Russia, when you've got airfields that are not situated at sea level, if you accidentally confuse the QNH with the QFE chart, then you might very well find yourself in a situation where your EGPWS might go off and you'll have to execute a terrain escape maneuver. So that's something that you should really be careful with. Okay, set QNH. QNH 1000 cross-check, passing 10,900. Now, checked. So one thing to be careful about when you're flying in metric airspace is, as flight crew, we still refer to everything in feet. Even if we're flying in metric airspace, we read our stuff back to ATC in meters, but in the aircraft we always refer to it as feet. So for example, if we take the previous level 138 restriction, as flight crew we would have said 13,800 feet, but to ATC we have to say flight level 4,200 meters. So that's a little, let's call it, uncommon. Okay then, let's do a little bit of manual flight here. Autopilot off. I'm just really enjoying the manual flight characteristics of the 777. It really gives the aircraft this special feeling. You can feel it's fly-by-wire, But likewise, you really feel that it's not the same as an Airbus. You are a little bit more connected to the aircraft in here. But of course, you still got to keep trimming it, so that you can actually maintain precise control of the plane. Even though it is fly-by-wire equipped, the 777 still kinda flies like any other airplane, with the exception that you don't need to trim for configuration or thrust changes. So the way this works is when you're flying, let's say, any other aircraft or any conventional aircraft, then those aircraft will usually have a specific speed that corresponds to a specific trim setting. So let's say you're in the descent at 240 knots, eventually you will find one trim setting at which the plane remains exactly stable. And this is kind of what Boeing has simulated in the 777 as well. The only difference is that the control switches for your elevator trim on the Yoke do not move the stabilizer, but much rather they change the commanded speed. You can somewhat imagine this like the level change mode of your autopilot, where you could also just dial in the speed, and that's pretty much exactly what the thumb switches on the control column do. You simply dial in a speed. And yeah, the fly-by-wire then is going to maintain that speed. Okay, approach checklist please. Altimeters, QNH 1000. Approach checklist complete. So the way the fly-by-wire works, the aircraft gets very stable on the pitch axis, but especially with the wind changing, you can still easily get yourself into a rolling motion. So that's still something that you need to correct as a pilot. In general, we can say, just like in any other fly-by-wire aircraft, you've got all these beautiful computers, but all they do is to aid you and not to replace you. Airplane, we don't need any thrust. Okay, airport inside, 12 o'clock. Couple of mountains inside as well, gotta be careful with those. And we do receive a localizer already. That's localizer captured. So next we go down towards 2000. A little bit of tailwind here. Yeah, we will have to help the aircraft a little. Over here we intend to capture the glide slope. And you can see how we just about reached that. But we still have to lose our speed. So that's certainly something to keep in mind here. Now, the speed brake is super effective in this aircraft, so I'm not really worried about that at all. But nonetheless, it's just something, you know, that we just might want to keep in mind. Well, and here comes a little bit of a downdraft, so that definitely helps us getting down. $18 miles out, I'd say we can start slowing down here. By Boeing, the goal is to arrive at Patron altitude, 3,000 feet, 12 miles before the airport at 210 knots. That gives you all available options. So let's go ahead and try to achieve that. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Approach armed. Glide slope capture. Was a little stutter there. Okay, flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Oh, looks like it's reloading some scenery over there. That's probably the reason for the stutters. Okay, let's not get too fast here. Applying some speed brake right now. So, let's hope that the scenery issue fixes itself up there. Yeah, that's looking better. That is reloading. Okay, target speed down to the 5 speed. 10 miles out. 3000. Speed is looking okay. A little bit fast, but I got the speed brakes out. That is going to solve itself. And the speed brakes are back in. Checked. Look at how it doesn't have any satellite scenery here. Okay, gear down. Flaps. Can we do 20 already? Yeah, we can. Okay, flaps 20. Okay, go around altitude set. Come on, aircraft, you gotta get down now. Flaps 25. Okay, let's use a little bit of speed brake again to lose that airspeed. Yeah, I know the speed brakes are extended. Flaps 30. This is looking much better. Well, just about stable, I'd say. That tailwind certainly did not help it. Okay, and the landing checklist is complete down there.
500.
Checked. So, on the puppies, glide slope seems a little bit low to my eyes.
$50, $30, $10.
So, speed brake up, reverse normal. Manual brakes. We'll catch the next exit. And here we are. Welcome to Beijing. So, just 12 hours 20 flight time. That was a quick one. The thing I like about these incredibly long flights in the real world is that you really get to do a lot of rest there. You get like 3.5, even a little bit more hours of in-flight rest. So that really means you can sleep. And you can sleep for a long time. Okay then, so left on kilo. And then we can clean it up. Okay, so we continue straight for a little bit, then we're going to enter the apron onto the right over there, and there is going to be our parking pretty much straight away in front of the entry. Don't have an after landing checklist in here. Easy going. And we are well ahead of schedule. Very nice. Okay, starting APU. Then next to the right into Yankee 4. So, gate 514, here it is. Lights off, radar is off. Parking brake set, APU running. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Shutdown checklist, parking brake, set. Shutdown checklist complete. Okay, ground operations, set chocks, request jetway, and request ground power please. So here comes the jetty. Ground power is here. What's the current temperature? 24. Do they have an air conditioning unit available here? Look at that. Nah, doesn't really look like it, huh? That an air conditioning unit? Not really. Okay, well in that case we're gonna keep the APU running. Okay, so doors in park, we've set that. You can open the two left, and then aft cargo, bulk cargo, forward cargo. So, messages are all expected. Down here we only have the fuel spar valve, that's expected as well. 12 hours 22 flight time. 0618, and the schedule was 0625. Excellent. Nice 10 minutes ahead of schedule. That's exactly what I would like to see. So my friends, that's gonna be it for today. I hope that you liked this one. As always, leave your feedback in the comments and do let me know what you think about our flight. If you want me to do more flights like this, be sure to leave your feedback as well. Finally, if you're interested in learning more about the Boeing 777 and its operation, check out my Ultimate 777 guide. More on that in the video description as well. Finally, if you really like what I'm doing on this channel, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and why not make a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.